Hello everybody, my name is Joe Carter and today I'm going to be explaining about a new game that I'm working on. It's called Merchant Trader 1718. This is the third title in the 1718 series. The first two titles are The Golden Age of Piracy 1718 and the second title is Pirate Hunter 1718, and those two are already available as print and play on Wargame Vault. So this is the third title in the series, and basically you focus on hiring, basically running a merchant trade business where you trade goods around the Caribbean in the year 1718. There are several major differences between this title and the other two. First, you are a merchant trader based in Port Royal, but you have to hire a merchant captain to sail your ship around the Caribbean and do trading, and a crew. But if the captain is killed, unlike the two other titles in this series, you can continue the game because you're not on the ship. You're running your business in Port Royal. So you would just have to hire a new merchant captain. And if the ship was lost, of course you'd have to buy a new ship and then for the new captain. So let's see. Another major difference is that you're going to try, compared to the other two games, is you're going to try to avoid combat. Now I know that may sound boring, but you are running a trade business, so while your merchant ship is armed with cannons, its crew is very undermanned compared to pirate ships. So it's about double the amount of crew on pirate ships compared to your merchant ships. So you always try to avoid combat, because once you're boarded, you're going to have a very small chance of winning against the pirates. You'll be completely outnumbered. So let's see what else. I guess I can get started by I'll just go ahead and start explaining the components, and if there's time I will do a little bit of a playthrough to demonstrate the basic flow of the game. So first, here we have the Caribbean map, and I already have a new game set up, so this is the setup here. I guess I can explain things very quickly, the counters. But this is the blue spaces are coves. The light blue is shallow cove, and dark blue is deep cove. And the only time you're going to go into the cove zones is if you're searching for buried treasure, if you have a treasure map. Any other time you're going to avoid those. The yellow zones are the trade zones where the trade ships, merchant ships travel through. The green zones are the British port towns, English towns. We have Port Royal. This is your home base. That's a green town. And we have Cayman is an English town. And then Georgetown is another English town. There's 3 English towns. And then like Trinidad, that's Spain. And there's only one French town, and that's Tortuga. So you basically travel around to the different towns buying and selling goods for the best prices to try to make a profit. And you can only own one ship at a time and one captain and crew at a time. Hire one captain and crew. There's just simply no table space to do multiple ships. All this is just for one ship. So it's limited to one ship, but there's still a lot to do. So here we have the weather. You can have good, poor, or bad weather. And then we have the wind. We have calm, light, moderate, strong, and hurricane. And here we have the ship combat rounds, which is, it can be a maximum of 10 before the sun goes down, and then combat automatically ends. Now, the weather and wind change every turn or every zone that you travel. You can travel a maximum of one zone per turn on the map. Sometimes if there's no wind, like it's calm, good with calm wind, you cannot leave the zone. You're stuck in that zone that turn. And if there's bad weather, either strong or hurricane wind, you're also stuck in that zone. You furl the sails and you're just stationary trying to ride out the storm. So usually you can travel, but sometimes you are trapped in that zone for one turn. Is considered one day in the game. Here we have the random events. Sometimes you're going to have certain random events you're going to track by putting counters here. Let me go ahead and explain these counters. Every month let's see how I can explain this without jumping around. Every month you're going to roll for the situation in the Caribbean. You're going to roll, for example, you're going to roll for the piracy risk level. Now, piracy risk level means if your merchant ship enters one of these zones that has a pirate activity counter, there's a greatly increased risk of being attacked by pirate ships. And that's something you want to avoid if possible. And then plague means disease in the towns. There's a chance of maximum of 5 of each: plague, pirate activity, and then also pirate blockade. If there's pirate activity in a town, port town zone, you're going to roll for pirate blockade. And then there's about 50% chance of pirate blockade depending on if the town has defense cannons or not. Now, if there's a pirate blockade, there's a really increased chance of encountering a pirate ship. So these compound, these are cumulative: pirate activity and pirate blockade. So you'd have a total of, let me double check here. You would have a total of, with the modifiers, you would have a total of 45% increased base chance of encountering a pirate ship if you're going to try to land in one of these towns to do trading. So it's probably best to avoid these towns. Now, also there's fire. Fires mean that a fire spread through the town and caused a lot of damage and destroyed a lot of the wooden buildings. And basically that means that you can only trade lumber in that town. You can't sell anything else, and you can't buy anything. So as the lumber, you can trade it for 3 times you can sell it for 3 times the amount, because they're trying to rebuild the town, of course. So there's a high demand for lumber. But the one bad thing is that like I said, you cannot buy any other goods or sell them any other goods except for lumber. And then here we have goods shortages, goods shortage. This means that the town is experiencing a shortage of certain goods, and they will pay double the amount for that item, and you cannot buy that item. You can only sell it for double the amount because there's a shortage. Okay, and I think that covers everything on here. Oh yeah, as far as plague goes, if there's plague, you can still land in the town and trade, but It's very risky because there's a 30% chance that your merchant captain or any of the specialist crewmen will become infected, and they will immediately get a +1 light wound each time. So each day that's spent in a town with plague, you have to roll. So it takes one day to sell and unload goods, and it takes another day to buy and load goods onto the ship. So you're talking about, if you want to buy and sell in a town of plague, you're going to have to spend 2 days there. And there's a 30% chance per day that they're going to get infected and receive a light wound each day. So it's very risky. I usually avoid it unless you can make a huge profit from something, and sometimes it's worth the risk. Okay, I think that covers that. Here on Mat 2, we have the merchant ship damage and ship combat. This is a merchant ship. This is my current merchant ship. It's a sloop. Shallow draft means you can enter the light blue zones and also the dark blue, of course. And this is the required seamanship is 1. You have a seamanship skill. You always start out with a minimum of 1 for your captain. This is my current captain. Actually, I'm going to have to start this over. I'm starting a new game. Let's see here. Okay. And then you can have a maximum of 5 skill points per skill. I'll get back to this later. Okay, let's see. Okay, and here we have the sail damage for your merchant ship. Each ship size, there are 5 types of ships you can command. You can hire or purchase and have your merchant captain sail around in. So we have a sloop, schooner, brigantine, frigate, or flute and frigate, or frigate and man of war, MOW. And it's the same for hull damage. So this is sail damage, hull damage. If you have maximum sail damage, the ship is disabled and you can no longer move out of the zone. You have to either repair or abandon ship. You can only repair the sails if you have a sailmaker specialist crewman aboard and at least 1 unit of sailcloth. And that takes 1 day to repair, maximum of one point. 1 is enough to start sailing again. And if you don't have a sailmaker specialist crewman and enough, at least 1 sailcloth unit, then the ship remains disabled and you have to abandon ship and go ashore. And all the goods are lost. And then here we have hull. If you sustain maximum hull damage, the ship sinks. And the crew is killed and all the cargo is lost, of course. Okay, and then here's the ship combat. This is just a little small box here with two spots where you can put the merchant ship and the pirate ship, whichever pirate ship you encounter. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Mat 3, merchant ship crew. This is your captain here. We have the specialist crewman, carpenter, distiller, drummer, farmer, foreman, marine, master gunner, native guide, sailmaker, and surgeon. Now you can only get specialist crewmen by trying to hire them in an English tavern each Sunday, each week. And there's a 10% chance, depending on your fame level. That's a base chance. If it's fame level 0, then it's only 10% chance. And then you have to hire them. You have to pay money. You have to pay gold. Now the carpenter is good for speeding up repair. A carpenter, if he's aboard the ship, he can repair one hull damage points. So if you only have one left, and you have at least one, I think, I don't remember actually, that was maybe the pirate hunter. But anyway, I believe you can repair one hull damage while at sea if you have one lumber unit, maximum of one, up to two. Okay, but you have to be in a cove zone to do it for protection from the weather. And let's see, we have a distiller. Now a distiller is necessary. He's needed for if you build a rum distillery, you need a distiller to run the factory. And you can't run one without it. That's for extra profit, to sell rum. A drummer helps with combat during shipboarding combat. And it also helps for, yeah, just that. Okay, there's no land combat in this game. And then farmer is required for sugar farm. If you want to grow sugar in Port Royal, and you have a rum factory, rum distiller, you can grow the sugar and then process the sugar into rum in your distillery if you have both. If you don't, then you can just store it for the foreman in the warehouse. Now you can also build a warehouse in Port Royal to store a maximum of 100 units of goods. And if you want to sell it directly to the Port Royal market, you can sell your sugar, or you can stick it in the warehouse, or you can load it aboard the ship and sell it, trade with it around the Caribbean. It's your choice. So a foreman is required to run the warehouse if you build a warehouse. A marine, it increases the chance of defeating pirates during shipboarding combat, or when you're searching for buried treasure, when you encounter hostile natives, it also decreases the chance of losing crewmen. Okay, let's see what else. Master gunner increases the chance of hitting a pirate ship with the cannons during ship combat. Native guide is kind of the same as a marine as far as it decreases the chance of encountering hostile natives during buried treasure searches. And a sailmaker, as I mentioned, you can repair sails while at sea if you have a sailmaker aboard, 1 unit of sail damage, and 1 unit of sailcloth. And surgeon, he can heal specialist crewmen or the captain aboard the ship if you have medicine, which you normally have to do that in the Port Royal Hospital. So, and here we have the crew loyalty, fanatical, mutinous, down to 0 mutinous. If they're at 0, you have to roll for a mutiny check every day to see if they mutiny or not. If they mutiny, then they kill the captain and take the ship, and they run away with all of your goods on board and gold or whatever. Merchant trader fame. You start out unknown and you can go to maximum of 5. The most relevant thing regarding merchant trader fame is you need a 4 or 5 to take on special jobs from the governor. Okay, and this is the main crew for the ship. You can have a maximum of 2 crew units for a sloop, 3 for a schooner, 4 for a brigantine or flute, 6 for a frigate, and 8 for a man of war. So it's half of that of a pirate ship. You have to try to avoid combat. Here we have the maximum black powder capacities depending on the ship's size, and we have the maximum number of cannon shots per ship size. Each cannon fired consumes 1 black powder unit. For example, a sloop can fire a maximum of 2 shots per combat round, and it can have a maximum of 10 black powder units. So if I shoot 1 combat round, all my cannons, I remove 1 of these. Now these black powder counters are not mandatory, they are optional. You can also write how much black powder you have with your dry erase marker. I prefer to use the counters because it's a little bit cleaner and a little bit less troublesome having to draw it right in and erase and write in and erase each combat round, but it's your choice. Okay, that's 3. Okay, 4 is the merchant ship cargo mat. Here we have the cargo hold on the ship, and we have defense cannons, fine china, flour, general goods, lumber, rum, sailcloth, spices, sugar, wine, and passenger. Now these are the goods you're going to be buying and selling while you're trading around the Caribbean. And each ship size has a maximum hold capacity, cargo hold capacity. You can't exceed these amounts. But black powder does not count towards this. That's separate. Here we have golden special items, clay pipe, compass, cutlass, crucifix, medicine ring, skeleton key, spyglass, treasure, gold, and jewels. There's no limit to how many of each of these you can carry on the ship. I can explain these real quick. The clay pipe helps increase the chances of winning if you're gambling in an English town tavern, or any town tavern, actually, you can gamble. And it also helps when, if you're shipwrecked, I believe. Let me double check. Or is it for navigation? Like if there's bad weather, let me check real quick. Okay. Yeah. If there's a bad weather for storm navigation, it gives you a -1 modifier to prevent shipwreck. Okay, so this is a very valuable special item. Okay, compass, it prevents shipwrecks if you're in bad weather. Okay, same thing, but this gives you a -2 modifier. So this is really good for storm navigation if you can get a hold of one. Okay, a cutlass helps with fighting during shipboarding combat. It gives your guys a better chance. And I forgot to mention Marine. Marine is specialist crewman is he increases the chance of defeating the pirates during shipboarding combat, and he is also useful for fighting for avoiding losses during treasure hunts if hostile natives are encountered. Okay, crucifix helps escape from ghost ships. Medicine helps to recover if you're aboard. If you have a surgeon aboard the ship, you can use this to recover from wounds while you're sailing around. And it can also be traded, like if there's plague, towns with plague will pay double the amount for medicine if you sell it to them. It's risky entering the towns, like I said, but you can make some good profit if you're willing to take the risk. Okay, a ring is necessary if you want to marry a governor's daughter and get the highest score possible. Skeleton key is if your hired merchant ship captain is captured by pirates and returned to Nassau, is the pirate town in the Caribbean. You don't ever enter this town. Well, You don't want to enter this zone. There's like a plus 50 modifier if you sail through this zone for a pirate ship encounter. But if he's captured and taken back to Nassau, there's a chance that he can escape the jail and get back to Port Royal if he has a key hidden somewhere on his body. Just don't ask where he hid it. That's a secret. Okay, we have Spyglass. Spyglass decreases the chance of encountering pirate ships, meaning if you spot the pirate ship first, you can try to avoid them. Okay. And we have treasure map. Now, if you have a treasure map, you can search for it. Here's a little card. You can write down the location of the treasure. And then you have to enter the dark or light blue zone wherever it is. And you have to, I'll show you the treasure map in a second. You have to search for the treasure and try to avoid hostile natives. And if you don't want to take the chance, you can always sell the treasure map if it's not recovered in any of these towns for profit. Okay, and we have gold. This is how much gold you're carrying on the ship. There's no limit. And we have jewels, which are valuable, and you can also have an unlimited amount on the ship. So here, let's go ahead and go over to map 5. This is the warehouse. This is the Port Royal Warehouse Bank Hospital. How are we doing on time? Okay, about 30 minutes in. Okay, we have the Port Royal Warehouse. It's the same, mostly the same as the cargo hold goods. You can store, the one difference is actually the man of war can store 100, the man of war merchant ship, and you can store a maximum of 100 in a warehouse. Now you have to build a warehouse depending on the starting difficulty level. Some levels come with the warehouse already built, but the more difficult levels don't. Like the long game difficult level does not have a warehouse. So you have to build a warehouse before, and you also have to have a foreman. Like for example, here's the foreman counter. You can't run a warehouse without a foreman, and you need 5 workers. Workers can be hired in the Port Royal Tavern, so that's no problem. But getting specialist crewmen, usually you're going to only be able to get them by visiting a tavern on every Sunday and trying to hire them, depending on your fame level. It might take longer if you're at a low fame, a merchant trader fame level. And you can increase fame level by escaping from pirate ships or completing or defeating pirate ships. It is actually possible to defeat a pirate ship. If you are boarded, you will get fame. But you don't voluntarily attack pirate ships. You have to avoid them. You're not a warship. Your crew will not put up with you trying to hunt pirates. That's not the goal of your merchant ship. It's to avoid pirates. You're focusing on trading, not combat. But sometimes combat is necessary if you get boarded. Or you encounter pirate ships, ship-to-ship combat. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, here it says 5 workers required. Here we have maximum warehouse capacity 100. Here's the Port Royal Bank Vault. You can store special items and gold and jewels in the Port Royal Bank Vault, and it's secure compared to the pirate ship. On the merchant ship. If the merchant ship is captured or sunk, all of this is lost. Okay? But here it's secure, usually. I'll just leave it at that. Usually it's very secure. So this is a good way to protect your valuables and gold and stuff. And here we have the Port Royal Hospital. If any of your specialist crewmen or your captain is wounded or infected with the plague or whatever, they can recover in the hospital. These are beds. You have to pay gold. And it takes 10 days per light wound. A moderate wound is 2 light wounds. It takes 10 days per wound to recover, plus 1,000 gold per light wound. So, it takes time and money if they get wounded. You have to be careful. Okay, let's go up to 6. Farm distillery risk levels. Now this is the farm operations. It's kind of the same as the warehouse operations. Okay, this is the farmer, health, workers, and we also have distillery operations. Operational, yes, no. I have it at no right now because I could probably just remove these. I don't even have it, so I can just take these off here. If it's built, then I would put the yes or no on here as a reminder that yes, it's operational, no, it's not. But I don't even have them built because I'm going to start out at long game difficult level. So here we have pirate risk level, plague risk level, fire risk level. Now let me set these to 0. Okay. Piracy risk level plus or minus level is a plus 10 modifier on table. What table number is that? I think it's, yeah, F54. Okay. It's a plus 10 modifier for the plus each point, or it's a minus 10 when you roll every month. So to affect these, it automatically increases plus 1 per month. But you can pay 1,000 gold per level to decrease it. You can do, like, if I want to pay, let's say it's at 0 and I want to pay 5,000, I can drop it down to minus 5 that month. And that's a minus 50 modifier on table F54. See right here, piracy risk level. So that would drop it down to a maximum of 50. So this would really, really affect lower the amount. Basically what you're doing is you're paying into a fund. Like here we have the Piracy Prevention Fund. You can pay on the first day of the month, 1,000 gold per donation. 1,000 gold per 1,000 gold donation. It decreases the piracy risk level by 1. So like I said, you're basically paying gold into the fund, the Caribbean Fund, to help finance warships to hunt down pirates, which basically decreases the pirate activity level in the Caribbean. But if you don't do anything, like I don't have any money, I don't want to pay, each month it's going to go up plus 1. And pretty soon the pirates will be taking over the entire Caribbean. There will be so much activity that you're going to have a very difficult time trading. Okay, so here we have the plague risk level. It's the same. And the fire risk level is the same rules. So you can pay 1,000 per to decrease each level up to minus, oh, you can do 10 actually. Like let's say it's at plus 5. It's like, whoa, there's a really high fire risk level. It's going to burn down half of the Caribbean. We're going to have to donate some money into the fund. So in 1 month, I could pay 10,000 minus 1 per 1,000. I could lower it to minus 5 in 1 month if I want to pay the gold. But it's expensive. You have to be earning good money. Okay. And we have, okay, I think that covers most of the mats. Here we have the buried treasure. This is mat 8, the buried treasure. You won't use this very often. This is your merchant loyalty. And loyalty changes minus 1 per, if one specialist crewman is killed, or per main crew unit, it drops minus 1. Okay, so you have to be careful. And then you can have the merchant you have to have the merchant captain. If they want to search for it, they have to dock in one of the blue zones, and then you can take a marine if he's available, and you can take a native guide, and then you can have a maximum of 7. Like if you have a man of war, it has 8 crewmen maximum. Okay, you have to leave at least 1 aboard the ship in case only the captain survived. Let's say the marine and native guy were both killed. The captain survived, so you're going to have at least 1 crewman, and let's say all the other merchants were killed. You're going to have 1 merchant crew unit to sail the ship back to wherever you're going. Okay. Okay, finally, this is the merchant, this is the treasure map, buried treasure map. So you land in the longboats here, and then you have to travel through, and it's randomized where the treasure is located, and you have to try to avoid getting lost or hostile natives. So this is very risky in this game because you have so few merchants that can help search for the treasure. So it's very, very risky unless it's really close to the longboats, the buried treasure location. I would not recommend trying to travel way out here because you're probably not going to survive. Maybe not, but it's very, very risky. And buried treasures are really good, very profitable, but like I said, you have to weigh the risks for the profit, and a lot of times it's not worth it. It depends on where it's buried. Okay, we're getting there. There's a lot to cover in this video. We're gonna... Okay, let's go ahead and let me show you this. I don't know, maybe I'll have to do a separate video for the playthrough example. This is taking a while. Here we have the town status. I have these in the hard clear because I write on these with the dry erase marker. These hard clear holders, these are really good. All the components are in the hard clear holders for protection and for dry erase marker. So here we have the towns, the little country flags, and each town has these little boxes here like a trade permit. You have to buy a trade permit with gold for each town. You start out with a trade permit in Port Royal. That's already purchased, okay? But you have to buy trade permits for each of the other towns if you want to trade with them. It's one time. Unless there's a fire, and then if there's a fire and maybe the town records will be destroyed, you're gonna have to buy another permit. Now, the green town permits, the English towns, Cayman and Georgetown, and if you lose your permit in Port Royal due to fire, then you're gonna have to buy in the green towns for 5,000 gold each. That's for the whole year. It's valid for the whole year unless, like I said, unless the town records are destroyed by fire. Now the orange towns, 10,000 gold per permit. This is very expensive. Now you may be thinking, oh my God, how am I ever going to pay for that? Well, trading can be very profitable. If you do the proper trade routes and the proper items at the right time, you can make huge amounts of gold. So, but you have to build up to that. So it might be a good idea if you're starting out on a more difficult level to try to start trading, buying permits with, the English towns. They're only 5,000 gold each for the permits. So here we have the defense cannons. Depending on the difficulty level you choose, a starting difficulty, you can have a maximum of 6 automatically, depending on how many towns. Now, if the towns don't have any defense cannons, you can purchase them or give them cannons. Now, the cannons help reduce the chances of pirate blockades. Now, if you roll the pirate activity in a town zone, port town, you're going to roll for pirate blockade. And there's a -1 modifier. There's a 90% chance of a pirate blockade if there's pirate activity in that zone. But you get a -1 modifier on the pirate blockade roll per town defense cannon. So if you have 6, it reduces it 60%. Okay, so it's very good to try to purchase or give cannons to towns to help protect from pirate blockades. Okay, and let's see. Here we have goods shortages. This is just a way you can track which goods are in shortage in which towns. So, and here we have the trading table for the month. There are 10 different trading tables. I will show you that in a second. Now here's the trade route planner. The route destination, there's 5 different ones. You're probably only going to use 2 or 3 at the most. Most of the time you're going to just be trading between 2 towns, maybe 3. There's just no time because each month the prices change and then everything changes. So we have the town, and then to sell goods and buy goods. You can mark it to track which towns you're going to sell and which towns you're going to buy, depending on the prices. Okay. Now here, this is very important. This is a buy, sell goods and special items. And this is basically a goods price table. Okay. And these are the towns, the 10 different towns. And then these are the goods. And then the red is the worst price. And the green is the best price. And then you have just the black text. That means it's within the normal ranges, high or low. Now prices can fluctuate depending on the month. And the table that's rolled for between 75, it goes plus 25, 50, 75 or minus 25, 50, 75% from the base price for each town. So every town's different. Sometimes they'll be the same, but many are mixed up and different. These were all randomized when I created them. So it should really, really add to the game's replay value. 10 different towns or 10 different tables is just a huge amount because each, like I said, each table is different. All the prices are different. Okay, so you're going to try when you're trading, like the red, for example, in Cayman on this table, spices is 260 red, 130 gold, green. 260 red means buying it, that's the worst price possible. That's a plus 75% over the base price if you're going to be paying. You don't want to do that. But if you buy the spices from somewhere else, you can get the maximum profit of 130 gold selling. Okay? So that's really good. So you always want to try to buy low and sell high if you can. You don't want to lose money. So you're going to have to, depending on the prices and the situation in the Caribbean, you're going to have to figure out the trade routes you're going to do to maximize your profits. And it's difficult sometimes because there's, pirate activity. You don't want to sail through those waters. So you're going to have to try to figure out if it's worth the risk, or if there's plague, is it worth the risk to land to make huge profits or maybe get infected? You're going to have to decide. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good actually. Okay, let me go ahead and cover some of these cards. There are two types of jobs you can get from the Port Royal Governor. We have deliver goods. He will ask you to deliver a certain type of good, how many units, the town destination, and you have 14 days to complete the job. And then we also have transport passenger, destination and expiration date is also 14 days. Now, governor jobs are a really good way to earn experience points. You can earn experience points from escaping pirate ships or defeating them. But the safe way is to try to take jobs from the governor. And also, there's a 10% chance per completed job that the governor will give you an extra gift of a special item or maybe extra gold or jewels. Now, that's one of the very few ways of getting special items. So, like I said, the governor jobs are very important to build up your special items or captain experience. So here, I'll go ahead and, since we're talking about the captain, this is a merchant captain card. This is his level. A level is not really relevant in this game. It's just a way for you to keep track. Per 1,000 experience points, he gains 1 level. Okay. Now, per 1,000 experience points, he also gains 1 skill point. You can have a maximum of 5 skill points per skill. Here are the skill points. Charm. Now, charm this is a new skill that's not in the other two 17-18 titles. Charm is like if your merchant ship gets boarded, like let's say you surrender. You can, before combat begins, you can surrender the ship without fighting. Now there's a chance the pirates are only going to take the cargo and let your specialist crewmen and ship go. Everybody go. But then there's a chance they're going to take the cargo, all of your specialist crewmen, and let the ship go. But there's a small chance they're going to just kill everybody and take the ship and go. The cargo. So what this does is this gives you a -1. Charm gives you a -1 modifier on that table if you have 5 charm skills. So this is a very important skill. He's a smooth talking captain. Maybe he can talk his way out of it. Even though they're pirates, maybe they'll listen. Maybe he bribes them a little bit. Who knows? Okay. So here we have Haggle. Haggle gives you a 20% discount on ship repairs, refit prices, or buying and selling ships in Port Royal. It has nothing to do with trading goods prices, the Haggle skill. Navigation prevents shipwrecks during bad weather, storms. Seamanship is required to sell certain ship sizes, and it also helps to try to escape from pirate ships during ship combat. Swimming is necessary for if the ship is shipwrecked during a storm, and it prevents your merchant captain from drowning. And swordsmanship also increases the chance of winning during shipboarding combat. Okay, there's a lot to cover here. Let's see, here we go. These are construction cards to track the completion date for Sugar Farm and the distillery. And okay, just a second. Let me find the third one. There it is. And the warehouse. It's just, these are just convenient little cards. You don't have to use them. It's your choice. But I thought I'd include them. Just easier to track things. Kind of cool looking. Okay, next. We have bank loans. Now this is risky. You can borrow gold if you're desperate from the Port Royal Bank. But there's a 30% interest rate. 30, okay. It's usury, I know. And if you don't you have 60, I believe it's 60 days to repay back the loan. And if you don't repay it, you are thrown in jail and they take it out of the bank. They sell everything off to get the value. Now, if it can't cover, all of your worth cannot cover this bank loan, they leave you in jail and the game ends. Not the merchant ship captain, you're the merchant trader. The game ends if you can't pay your debts. Debtor's prison. The good old days in the Caribbean. Okay, and here we have the ship sizes. Let's see if we can do this here. Okay. We have, oops. Okay, we have the sloop, and we have the schooner, and this is a seamanship requirement of 2. Brigantine, seamanship required of 3. A flute, seamanship required of 3 also, but it has a little bit larger cargo hold, but it's a little bit slower. So you have to, depending on what kind of ship you want, there's a trade-off between the two. And we have a frigate, seamanship requirement of 4, and a man of war, seamanship required of 5. The larger the ship, the more expensive it is to repair and to pay for refits. Refits are once every 2 months. And if you don't do a refit, you get permanent sail damage and a permanent hull damage point per month that you skip the refit. Wound recovery, these are just convenient little counters, cards that you can use to track when a crewman is in the Port Royal Hospital recovering. You can mark who it is and their full recovery date. Okay, and I think we're just about done here. I covered the treasure. These are the treasure map cards, just to track the treasure maps. Okay, and finally, we have the historical pirate cards, pirate captain cards. These are historical pirate captains: Anne Bonny, Henry Avery, Jack Rackham, Calico Jack, Bartholomew Roberts, Black Bart, Stede Bonnet, Charles Vane, William Kidd, Edward Teach, Blackbeard, and Mary Read. Now these have a little bit higher skills. They have a higher seamanship and swordmanship. They're very dangerous. If you encounter one, they're probably going to be selling a larger ship, maybe, and you'll be lucky. Your merchant ship captain will be lucky if he escapes with his life, because they are more likely to kill the crew and take the ship, even if you surrender without a fight. Okay, they're just vicious. Okay, where are we at? We're at 53. I think we can go ahead and... yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run a few turns. We have time. Okay, this is a new game I'm starting. I've already rolled all on the tables. Let me show you this real quick. This is the tables book. This is the heart of the game. Everything is played in alphabetical or numerical order. It's very easy to follow. There are notes. Most of the rules are integrated into the tables as notes. So it tells you where to go next. Most of it's in logical order. You do have to skip around sometimes, but there's very, very little to memorize. And that's good, because this is quite a detailed game. It's a little bit complex, but it's not difficult. And it allowed me to do a large amount of content without having to memorize everything. It would be impossible to do this style of game if I made a separate rule book. Nobody would be able to remember all these rules. So this is the way I did it to accomplish this. Okay, so I think that's everything. Now, please keep in mind this game is not available yet. It's still undergoing playtesting, and I hope to release it on Wargame Vault as print and play within 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe 4 weeks. It depends. So, but development has come along very far, and it's playing very well so far. But there might be a few more changes by the time it's released on Wargame Vault. Okay, I've already rolled everything up in the Caribbean. We have, this is our merchant ship here. This is Port Royal. We rolled fire, meaning we cannot buy or sell any goods except lumber in this town. Okay, and we did roll goods shortage. Actually, I should remove that because you can't buy or sell any other goods. Let's see, it wasn't lumber, was it? In Port Royal. Oh, it was black powder. Okay, so we're going to erase that. I marked down black powder for the shortage, but the fire overrides that, so you can't do that. We can only sell lumber in Port Royal. Now, thankfully, I rolled to see if the fire destroyed the town records, and it did not. So our trade permit is still valid, thankfully, because it would be 5,000 gold if it was burned down right when the game's beginning. That's a huge amount. We're starting out with. Now, normally, actually for this demonstration, I will mark. We're starting 5,000 gold. We're gonna keep. I don't know. We're gonna keep. This is the warehouse. This is the bank vault. The Port Royal. We're gonna keep. I don't want to put all the gold on the ship. Okay, we can't buy anything because we're gonna have to take these off because there was a fire. So we're gonna have to travel somewhere else to buy even black powder. You have to always buy black powder in the very beginning of the game. Ships don't come with it for our cannons. Okay, I already have the trade route figured out. These are the prices. This was table M6 for this month. So I looked at all the tables and all the prices of the towns, the buy and sell prices, and I figured out the most profitable trade route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade between Tortuga, selling spices and buying defense cannons, and I'm going to travel to Georgetown, and I'm going to sell defense cannons and buy spices. That's the most profitable right now. Now, the one problem is Georgetown has plague. It's going to be risky trading with Georgetown. I'll probably only make one stop and then maybe do another town. I'm going to risk it once to make some good profit, but I'm not going to do it more than once this month. It's just too risky. I don't want my crew to get infected with plague. Okay. So we're gonna do 5,000. I think we're gonna, let's see, which is the closest town? The closest town is Tortuga. Yeah, we're gonna go to Tortuga first. That's our first destination. So we're gonna keep, how much gold is it gonna cost us to load up on our maximum cargo capacity is 40. So we're going to buy in Tortuga, we're going to buy defense cannons. Those are the most expensive item in the game, the trade item. So let's check for defense cannon price in Tortuga, purchase price. It's low, but it's still expensive. Oh, okay, 375 per cannon. We have 10,000 gold. I think it's 10,000, right? Yeah, I started out at the long game, difficult level. Hard level. Okay, yeah, 10,000 gold. So we're going to go ahead and It's 375 times 40. Oh, 15,000. If we maxed out our entire cargo load of those cannons, 40 units of cannons, that would be 15,000. We don't have that much. So we have to buy a trade permits. Ooh, how are we gonna do that? Wow, we're in trouble because we have no trade permits. Okay, for the sake of gameplay, just for this demonstration, I'm gonna remove this fire counter. There was no fire in Port Royal. This is just for demonstration purposes only. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I want to do that this time. Okay, so let's see, Port Royal. Okay, so because we do have to buy, we would have to buy 2 defense cannons. So let's see, sugar. We're gonna have to change the trade route. Okay. Let's see here. See, this, you have to calculate things. You have to really study these to figure out the best route and the best prices to buy and sell. It takes a lot of planning. Let's see, Tortuga. What does Tortuga have that we could sell in Port Royal? Wine. How much is wine in Port Royal? Okay, wine is 50. That's quite cheap. And Tortuga, how much is wine? 125. Okay. Yeah, wine is the cheapest possible purchase price right now in Port Royal. So we're gonna do 50 wine, and if we sell it in Tortuga, that'd be no profit on wine. 50 sell price. It'd be the same. So let's see, rum. Okay, 545 China. Find China. Let's see, let me get my glasses here. I can't see this. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna do. Let's see, 175 sugar is the worst price. Okay, 85 sell price. How much is sugar in Tortuga? No, we still lose money. Okay, black powder. Okay, defense cannons. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and. Okay, we're gonna trade between Tortuga and um, Port Royal defense cannons. And then Port Royal has. What's a good item we can buy in Port Royal to sell to Tortuga? Let's see. A flower. No, that's too much. Okay. Let's see if we buy flour. Black powder. No. Fence 50. Okay, we'll just do flour for demonstration purpose. It's not very much profit, but that's okay. So we're going to sell flour in. Let me change this trade route thing. We're going to sell flour in Tortuga. Not spices, but flour. Okay. And then this is Port Royal. And then flour. We're going to sell flour. We're going to buy flour in Port Royal. Like I said, it's not going to be much profit selling flour to Tortuga, but this is for just demonstration purposes only. You do the best that you can. Okay, and we got 20,000. We're going to just put the full load on the ship. Okay, we're going to go ahead and load up now on What was his goods shortage in Tortuga? Let's see. It was... Whoa! I screwed up. Okay, let me see. This is really tough. Okay. Defense cannons. That figures. Okay, I was going to trade defense cannons. It was the best price. But it said shortage, meaning you can't buy them. You can only sell them defense cannons. Basically, that screws up my entire plan. So let's figure out, we're going to just go ahead and buy some flour just for demonstration purposes. We're going to max out flour. We're going to load up on flour in Port Royal. It is 30 units right here. 30 gold per unit purchase. We can have a maximum of 40 on our sloop. 40 times 30 equals 1200. This is my trusty calculator. I recommend, unless you're a math whiz, unlike me, I recommend everybody using one when playing this game. There are a lot of calculations. Okay, 1200 minus 10,000 is 8,800. So we're going to go ahead and put the full amount of gold. We're going to take a risk, put the full amount of gold on the ship. We just bought 40 units of flour that we're going to sell in Tortuga. Okay, we're all loaded up. Now that took 1 day. You have to spend 1 day purchasing and loading, and then another day selling and unloading. Okay, so our destination is Tortuga. Oh, I forgot to show you one last thing. This is the calendar. The game calendar, 1718. And these are the reminders, the color coding for the dates, the things you have to do or can do. Okay, so here we are on the first Saturday. And we skip this certain ones on the first day of the game, depending on which game you do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mark off the day because we spent an entire day buying the flour and loading it up on the ship. So that day is finished. The next day begins. We're going to go ahead and go to table Okay, we're going dice. We need 2d10 dice. We're going to go ahead and flip over to table H1 for weather check. We have to check the weather before we can set sail. If it's bad weather or no wind, good weather, no wind, we cannot leave port. Okay, we rolled 22. So it's good weather and light wind. We set that to that. Now we can remove this ship, a merchant ship docked counter. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and sail through the Santiago zone. We're not going to dock. We're going to just keep moving. And we're going to have to check for random event once per day on table H6. We're going to skip this. These are the bad weather. And then this is the ship movement reminder. I don't need to read that. And this is the ship crew mutiny table. We're going to skip that. So we jump to H6. And we roll to 64, no random event. Every game day, every game turn, there's, while at sea, not when you're in port, you don't roll for random event. There is a 3% chance of a random event occurring. It's not much, but it does happen. Okay, we're going to go to table H7 for pirate ship encounter. Okay, 74, no encounter. So that's it for that day. The day ends. We mark it off on the calendar. And we begin the next day. We're going to roll for weather again before we can leave the zone. 30. And then we have a -5 for good weather, so it's 25 means the weather stays the same. We travel into the Tortuga zone. We can't dock yet. We're going to have to roll for random event, nothing, and pirate ship, nothing. Okay, now we can dock, and the day ends. Okay, we marked it off on the calendar. Today is now January 4th, 1718. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and sell our flour. What is this, Tortuga? The sell price for flour is 40. That's a good price. We're going to make a little bit of profit. 40 times, what was it, 40? Okay, we bought it for 1,200. We sold it for 16. So we made 400 gold profit. That's not a lot, okay? If there was not a shortage of defense cannons, we could have made a killing on defense cannons, selling defense cannons. Unfortunately, they have a shortage. I mean, if we would have bought defense cannons, and we could have sold them in Port Royal for a killing. But they have a shortage of defense cannons, so we cannot buy them in Tortuga, unfortunately. I don't know why they're having a shortage. Something happened. Okay, we made 400 gold profit. So we're going to take 8,800 plus 1,600 is 10,400. We made 400 gold. That's pretty good. Actually, yeah, that's right. Okay. 88. Actually, 10,200. Calculated that wrong. Okay. It's not much, but it's a little bit. Okay, the day ends. Did I mark that off? Yeah, I marked it off. Okay. So we now erase this. The trade is complete. Oh, I forgot, of course. Before you can trade, you have to buy a trade permit one time. Okay, the trade permit is on table C7. This tells you how much it is. Note 2, 5,000 gold. So we should have done that first, and I didn't. So we have minus 5,000, which should leave us with 5,400 gold. We're going to have to change this. 5,200 gold, actually. Okay, we do have a trade permit with Tortuga now. So we're going to have to mark off trade permit. This stays valid for the whole year unless there's a fire, town fire, and the town records are destroyed. Then you have to buy another one. Hopefully that won't happen because it's expensive. Okay, that's finished. The next day, we're on the next day now. I already marked it off on the calendar. Now we're going to buy, what did I say? Yeah, we can't do defense cannons, so let's see what we got. In Tortuga, what can we buy in Tortuga for a good price and sell in? Now, we could do other towns, but I'm just doing this for demonstration. I don't want to spend the time studying this during the video. Sometimes you're going to do multiple towns, but for now I'm going to just buy something in Tortuga and sell it in Port Royal. Let's see, what can we buy in... well, we can buy back... let's see, we can buy... We can't buy defense cannons, unfortunately. There's a shortage. So there are no other good prices, maximum prices, the cheapest prices for buy besides defense cannons in Tortuga. So we're going to have to do something a little bit less profit. I think I said... Okay, yeah, no profit there. No spices. Actually, we could have sold spices in Port Royal, in Tortuga for more profit. Let's see, how much is wine? Lumber, no. Fine china, how much is fine china? No, it's the same. There are no good deals to purchase in Tortuga right now. Let's see, 50, 25, 150. No, I'm going to lose money on almost everything. So, like I said, I'd have to study this more to do a different trade route. It's not profitable buying anything in Tortuga and selling it in Port Royal. Tortuga's prices are too high. Let's see. I don't know why their prices are so high, but that's the way it is this month. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just end the game in the video now. I just wanted to demonstrate the basics. Like I said, I have to study the chart more, the prices of the different towns, and calculate my trade route, and I don't want to spend the time doing that right now in the video. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video now, and I hope you enjoyed watching like I said, the game is still undergoing testing. I hope to have it released within, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks. It depends on how things go. I still have to write the basic rulebook, just explaining the very, very basics, the overview, and counter guide and stuff. And like I said, all these mats are A4 or 8.5 by 11. Everything's very small for printing. You don't have to have any huge, printer. And there are 10 different game mats plus the calendar and a few sheets. And let's see, the counters, I use Decision Games blank counters. These work very well. They're 5/8 inch blank counters, and I print out the counter sheets on matte photo paper, and then I cut out each one individually and glue each one individually on these blank counters. They're very thick. You don't have to do it that way. You can also just use cardstock sheets, glue the entire counter sheet onto the cardstock, and then use a blade to cut each one. It's your choice, however you want to do it. I like doing it this way because they turn out very nicely. I think they're more professional looking, very thick counters, but it does take longer to do this way. So it's your choice. I think that's just about it. I think this game's a lot of fun. It's quite a different playing experience compared to the other two titles in the series. Your strategies and goals are different. Like I said, you try to avoid combat in this game, unlike the other two titles, and you have to try to calculate your trade routes and the best, most profitable prices. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I remember I recommend you using a calculator unless you're a math whiz, because there are a lot of calculations to do when you're trying to figure out the prices, and then buying and selling, of course. So I think that's all for today, and thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.